Welcome, everyone. This is the very last session of the OTJ Summer Sessions 21. Before we get going, I want to say thank you to all of the presenters. The one just before us was Mei Jiao, who is up there, maybe down there. I don't know. You can never tell where. No, she's up there. I just saw the Facebook pop up. She's up there in the upper left corner. Fantastic presentation, fantastic session that you just did, May. There's a lot of information there and a lot of inspiration for the people that were listening to you. This particular session will be for OTJ itself. And I would actually like a few more of OTJ's members to at least watch us on Facebook. And if you have any comments, I will be watching the Facebook Live, looking for what people are thinking about when it comes to the topics that we're going to bring up. The people who are in on this roundtable are probably the people that you associate most readily with OTJ. There's David Juteau, the guy who started it all. Cassie Guevara, his deputy, the moderator of the group, and Adam and I, who just kind of hang around a lot.
Well, you do more than hang around a lot, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, well, you can't deny that I do hang around a lot. In any case, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. Dave is going to start with trying to sort of, there's some people who probably don't know OTJ that well. So he's going to start out with a chronology of things. And then we'll go around the horn with everyone, trying to get their ideas on what they think are issues maybe that need to be discussed or what they're thinking in general. But I very much encourage everybody who's here or on Facebook to chime in and tell us what you're thinking and give us your suggestions. OTJ runs on its members, and the more its members contribute to these types of discussions, the more that we can pull together. Okay, Dave, why don't you talk a bit about what got all this started?
Very good. As we know, what got this started was a pandemic, and that was really the spring of 2020. And as it turned out, in February, the last 3 days, I don't know, it was the Friday of the last week of February, I closed my school because of the pandemic. And so we closed 3 weeks earlier than we normally would. And we didn't open again until June, middle of June. So I had this sort of space in my life. And I was walking down the street on March 29th, and out of nowhere, really, because I wasn't planning anything. I wasn't talking to anybody about anything. I said, I need to make a Facebook group to learn about online teaching because I think my university is going to be going online. Didn't know yet, but I was thinking that. So I immediately made a Facebook group without thinking a whole lot. And then I invited 15 or 20 people that I knew, mostly people I work with. And then this is March 29th, and I think like right away, it just started, it sprouted very quickly, and people just started joining, and it sort of became like Zoom workshops, kind of, Zoom things right away. I think the first one I initiated, Simon Morin came, and I had no idea what I was doing. And Simon sort of took over things because I just didn't know. It was so early in the process, but I just wanted to learn. And like why me would become the question. And at that point in time, I wasn't an active JOLT member for about 10 years. And so I didn't really have any. I was in trying to answer the question, why did it succeed? Well, I certainly didn't have any history with JOLT. So with that in mind, I was willing to start something fresh, I suppose. And then I had some ideas in mind that I didn't want it to be commercial. I didn't want people coming here to think they could make money off of OTJ. So I set it up in that way. And I think by inviting the key people that I invited, they invited 2 friends and they invited 2 friends, and it grew. And then probably, I think like the first Friday, I set up a thing called Wine at 9. It was the first social, probably before you knew anything about the socials. And it was the only one time I ever did it, because the next week, I think José set up a social. I'm not sure when you started that, José, but it would have early April, late April. Do you have an idea? You're muted.
I will not talk while I'm muted. I did not talk while I'm muted, so it was not a problem. I don't think you need to flash one of these, which we're selling in our merchandise store. I don't remember, Dave, but I'm pretty sure like I came into OTJ late March, started the Saturday sessions, noted that the Saturday sessions, like Adam was saying, we had a bit of a lull in things. And I asked him, Adam, I don't get why you're here. This has got to be incredibly rudimentary for you, talking about Zoom and talking about, hooking up hard drives and stuff. And Adam said something, if you want to know what inspired me to do the Friday night social, Adam said this: I'm just here for those social aspect of things, Jose. And it made sense. He had no need to come and listen to me talk on about Macintoshes. Number one, he doesn't have one.
It had to
unless
be
he wants to rip it apart. What?
It had to be roughly the second or third week of
Yes,
April.
I think it was about the third week of the Saturday sessions, which is about 1 week after I arrived. And then it just dawned on me, we should just be doing this to have fun, because people are talking about mental health and just getting together and getting cooped up and stuff. So I decided to do it. Yeah.
And at which point I still didn't even know you. And so it started to grow. And then out of the blue, Cassie sent me a message. Dave, I think you need some help organizing the flow of this thing, because there's just posts all over the place. And I said, well, go ahead.
I don't think I stepped that far. I kind of just asked, oh, do you need anything? Do you need any help? But that was pretty much what I was thinking as I sent it, because at that point, when it was still early, it really was anyone just posting anything, and not really any kind of system. And
that would have been
no one knows what they're doing. So
we were about 500 members at that point. And Andrew O'Brien sent me an email at the same time, just asking a few questions. And he's just somebody I knew peripherally, and I felt I could trust him because I knew he was West Jalt, and I didn't know anybody, because I'm not a Jalty kind of guy. I didn't really know people so well. So it was like, who do I know? Who do I trust? And so Cassie and Andrew became moderators, and roughly around the same time I met Jose. I went into one of the Friday night socials, and I remember asking Jose, are you like a radio announcer or something? And you're like, no, I don't know. I just thought you spoke so clearly, so articulately, and so smoothly. I thought, this guy must have some experience with this shit. So that was that. And OTJ was just growing along. And then sometime in June-ish, Jose contacted me and said, I'd like to ask you a few questions about a few things. And during that semi-interview, which you recorded, you mentioned the word podcast. And I jumped on it, and I thought that's exactly the kind of thing I would like to do. And so we kind of started that thing. And it must be roughly at that time that you guys were talking about summer sessions as well, Adam and Jose, because
No, I'm sorry to correct you. It wasn't quite then. Here's
we got let's take it here. We got April, May, June-ish. We started talking, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then we have July, August. The summer sessions were in August. So when roughly, how many weeks of lead time did you have to the summer sessions?
Okay, so you and I started doing the podcast about the middle of June.
Okay.
Very enjoyable. I felt that, wow, this is really cool. This is what's really happening. And I guess at that point, we were still doing Saturday sessions, we were doing Friday night sessions. My face was on the podcast, and so was yours.
Yeah.
The people started saying, oh, that's that guy. And I think during one of the Friday night, okay, if I take it really back all the way to its position point, during one of the Friday night socials, two of the members had birthdays around the same time. And just because both of them were kind of like down about the fact, it's my birthday, it's like early July, and like, there's nobody here. I thought it would be nice if we got together and we celebrated their two birthdays and I made a virtual background that I put on the back of my computer, passed it out to everybody, and we told them to go into a breakout room. And when he came back into the breakout room, everybody had these virtual backgrounds, and wow, surprise, and they just felt so much nicer. After I pulled that off, you weren't there? Okay. But after I pulled that off, okay, guess what this guy does? Adam decides, okay, well, I heard that Jose's got a birthday coming up. July 31st is my birthday. And he decides, I actually still have that video, although I don't normally pull it out of the vault. I still have that video that Adam made to play during my birthday. And like, I'm pretty sure that I knew what was going on, because like normally at that time, I would go into Friday Night Social and I would be there alone. Oh yeah. Okay. That's subtle. I would be there alone. That's not even the one I like. I would be there alone. And oh no, I got to back up as to what this entire joke about Iron Man is, right? Okay, I will eventually. Okay, I'll back up. Okay, so during one of the early Friday Night Socials, one of the questions I asked the whole group was, "Hey, okay, tonight's theme question is, what's the most random thing that your student has said to you all week?" And everyone's going, "Oh, random things." They say so many random things. I never think about it. So okay, I'll start. It was maybe about the second week of my first semester, maybe the middle of June, and some kid comes up to me and says, "Mr. Cruz, has anyone ever told you you look like Tony Stark?" Yeah, see, that was my reaction, right? He's going, "What? What? No, what?" And it got a pretty nice little. Oh, that's the one I like. I got a pretty nice little laugh through the Friday Night Social. Adam remembered it, knew that my birthday was coming up, saw the plan that I had, and basically copied it. And what he did was make a whole bunch of these and pass them out to everybody. Said, "Post up the one that you like." And it was everyone was really into it, and I could tell that they were into it, and something was up, because it was my birthday on that Friday, because it was 8 o'clock, and normally it takes like 10 minutes for anybody else to show up. I'm there alone for the first 10 minutes, but no, at 8 o'clock, as soon as I open it up, everybody comes in. And I go, "Oh, this is a little bit odd." And then they send me to a breakout room. I come back and there's this, and they play that video, and it was really nice. So, and from there, sorry,
the summer session is where we're trying to get at.
From there, yeah, I know, but it's a fun story. It's a fun story. From there, I say to myself, that guy Adam, he's a pretty fun guy. I think I can work with him. Then I thought to myself, where do we take the next step? You and I were doing the podcast. Saturday sessions were working out, but they were actually kind of starting to lose a little steam. And Friday Night Social, though, was still going strong. And I thought, okay, well, what can we do next? What can we do next? And I thought, well, I'm still in semester, but there's still a lot of momentum. There's still a lot of energy for doing things. I'm going to go approach that Adam guy, because I know that he's a powerful Moodler, he's a powerful programmer, and I'm going to need that kind of help if I'm going to execute what I was thinking, which is for us to do a Saturday session, not just on a Saturday, not just all day Saturday, but to take all of these ideas that I saw that were really fantastic on the OTJ board and say, why don't we talk about that? And the other thing that the reason why I decided to talk to Adam was because he did a presentation on Moodle grading. And I thought, wow, this guy's really good at presenting, and he knows how to present well. And there's so much information that people need. Why don't we do that? Why don't we just schedule an entire week? Because most university teachers, we're going to be on vacation around the end of August. Let's throw that out there. And I don't, Dave, to be honest with you, I don't remember if I even asked you, would you mind if I use the board to do that?
We had a conversation about.
We did? Okay.
Yeah. We pretty much have a conversation, but I didn't know Adam. I didn't know Adam from Adam. For me,
I knew you were going to throw that in there somewhere.
I remember talking about it and thinking, like, give it a go, but I knew that I wasn't going to have time to dedicate to it, because I knew what my summer was going to look like. So I was peripheral for sure. But then that was sort of the next big event. And sometime around that time, we would have hit around the 1,000 mark of membership in August. And that was also the time, our semesters obviously don't line up, because I finished earlier than you guys did. Our 14-week semester became a 12-week semester. So I was finished. And then other people were finishing their semester. And that's when OTJ heated up with non-OTJ stuff. And that's when policing became very headachy. I felt, because some people suddenly joined and thought, oh, this is my group now. I'm going to do whatever I want in this group. And it's like, whoa. Are the rules? There are some rules, right? And so we had to start defining what these rules were. How did we want people to behave? And that's where Cassie and Andrew came in big time to help that part of things, and that, you know, the summer sessions occurred, they were a big success, and then it was September again, right? And there was part of us, I think, I was thinking we're not going to be teaching online in September. And then lo and behold, we were teaching online in September. And so OTJ's moving further down the road. And I think the fall, it really picked up steam in a lot of ways because it grew to about 2,000 by December. And historically for me, September to December was really just moving along, just questions, answers. The group is going well. Jose and myself are doing podcasts. And then I think the podcasting got a bit tiresome for us, Jose. I'm not sure exactly how it phased out.
I wouldn't say tiresome, and I'm sorry, like I want to give the floor time to Cassie and Adam too, but I wouldn't say it's tiresome. It got so busy. By the time we got to August and we had to put things aside because of the summer sessions, then we got into September and there was more stuff to be done. And I was still catching up to grades and then trying to get my Moodle stuff ready, even with Adam's help. I was running out of time, and so were you. So we decided to back the schedule off from once every week to twice a month.
Yeah. And that's how, so that takes us up to about, you know, the new year. And Adam and Cassie, if you have anything you'd like to add to that first chunk of time, certainly welcome to chime in.
I don't have too much to say. I'm just listening to everyone. But I think from the get-go, David's vision for the group was that it was specifically about online teaching. And I just put up a reminder or a refresher post yesterday because new people come every day and a lot of people kind of don't really know. They see online teaching Japan and then they think that it's just like, a lot of people seem to think that it's just an online group for teachers, which is how, I mean, so recently everything is like really great, but the problems that David mentioned earlier were just, a lot of people started kind of posting things that weren't related at all to online teaching, and things, including like controversial things, and there were a lot more arguments back in the day, and it was like kind of not as, there were some hostile discussions, once that would pop up once in a while. And actually, as you know, David, Jose, and Adam know, for me in the beginning, as just a moderator, there were a lot of things that I would see and I thought they were like totally fine, but then they weren't exactly in the mission of what the group should have been. So I guess over time, we kind of really clearly defined, more clearly defined the mission of the group for everyone and are trying to make that clear even now. Because of course we love talking about anything and everything to other teachers, but that was why moderators became essential in the beginning, because there would be kind of like arguments throughout the timeline. And then when you look at the original post, it wasn't necessarily related to online teaching. Interesting topics, but so that's how we decided what moderators should do. And then eventually, way later, that's when we made the OTJ off-topic group, which if you don't know about that group, join it. There's a link in our group information, and I recently posted a link to it again, and we can talk about like, anything on there. It doesn't have to be about online teaching or even teaching. There's a lot of memes on there. We can thank Linda for that. There's a lot of memes on there.
Linda and John. Yeah.
And John. But so that's kind of like our space for where, I don't know, what would you call it? Like the teacher's lounge, but after school kind of thing when everyone's just chilling. I think Jose has posted a link in the Zoom chat to off topic.
Well, if I'd,
So yeah.
if I'd add one more thing about the off topic thing, I think the OTJ off topic page actually fulfills an incredibly important role, because there are certain posts that shouldn't be on the OTJ main page because they're off topic. But that doesn't mean that they're unimportant or that they're irrelevant to teachers. They can be deeply relevant to teachers, but they're just not on the topic of online teaching Japan. So the thing was, okay, we wanted a place where people can share those posts and those deeply important topics that are important to the members. So they're deeply important to people in our group, just perhaps not to every member in the group. And so without saying, you know, these do not belong anywhere near OTJ, we want to say, well, we want them to belong in a certain place where we can keep OTJ really the pure on topic, on mission thing, but we can also not be saying to the other people, yeah, just, you know, without that, there's, okay, your humor, get it out. And we become a bunch of stuck up mongrels. So it's definitely better to have a place for that to go, because it's really cool. I often like having a bit of a look when I'm feeling a little bit stressed or something. I know I can go to the Online Teaching Japan off-topic page, and there'll be stuff that I can really relate to. It'll be a great little break, 5 minutes of that, and I'm feeling refreshed again. So it fulfills an important purpose.
I think to bring those 2 points together that you guys are talking about too, which is OTJ became, I guess I'm going to use this word, successful, in that, of course, growing is a big part of success, but it became a group where people did what I imagined, which is to help each other learn how to teach online. That was my basic, you know, very narrow goal in a sense. And it became that. And I think when it did become that, it was a bit stunning as to like, what should I do with it? Or what should we do with it? Or what it's working. And I don't want it to stop working, because it would suddenly get, I'm going to use the word polluted with things that are non-related. So then I wanted to protect this thing that was seeming to work. And how to protect it was this idea of OTJ off topic. I didn't realize that people really want to communicate with each other so much, not only about teaching. I didn't care about that personally. But it was unavoidable at some point, you know, people, you guys, everybody, you know, behind the scenes, Dave, we got to do something about this. It's just too much, right? So I think it for me, it was like, how do we not destroy OTJ and still make it, because it's becoming something that I didn't anticipate, essentially, you know, and how do you keep it growing now that it is working? So that, you know, that worked. That worked.
Dave.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cassie, I just want to make a quick announcement.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Quick announcement. For those of you who are sitting, listening, and intrigued and want to participate, first of all, I would say that it's probably easier for us to actually act as a community if everyone of the 5 of us here could spread our ideas of turning on our cameras to everybody else. And that would probably make it easier to see everyone and communicate. However, if you don't want to, that's perfectly up to you. But if you want to raise your hand in the reactions button, then we'll know specifically that there might be people who want to chime in at a specific time. And that'll be a nice ordered way to make sure that everybody gets to say what they want to say. Sorry, Cassie, go.
Oh,
no.
Now what was I going to say? So I think the word destroy was quite strong, but I'm sure that he didn't mean that it might get destroyed. But yeah, I would hate for people to think that we were censoring posts. I would really hate that. But yeah, just I think OTJ off topic is the better place for all of those posts that people could get really like riled up about than on the main page, where a lot of people are specifically coming to look for advice on how to use Zoom and Emoto and everything like that. So yeah, I probably had something else to say too, but
No, I'm sorry about that.
it'll come up again later.
If I'm
Well, there also was
Duncan.
a second splinter group came up, right? OTJ Moodle.
Yeah.
And that was basically the same rationale, right? There were buckets and buckets of Moodle posts started to come thick and fast. And yet maybe, I don't know, a third or a quarter of the OTJ membership are using Moodle, and to the rest of them, it's irrelevant. But that's becoming a big part of the conversation. Okay, might be better if the Moodle guys had a nice little playground where they can play and won't interfere with the rest of the people. It doesn't mean that Moodle was irrelevant or something like that. Far
I
from
have
it.
to be honest with you on that one too,
Yeah.
Adam. What you're saying is true, but at the same time, there was a private Facebook Messenger feed with some Moodle stuff, and I was part of that group, and there was just this endless stuff, and I was like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. But I don't want to see it anymore. I'll make an OTJ. I'll make an OTJ Moodle group, and it's just like, you guys obviously need something. I felt, and frankly, for the people out there in OTJ land, if you have something that you really think needs to be done, anybody who's ever come to me privately and ask me questions or talk to me through Messenger or through Zoom, through conversation, I think 99% of the time I would implement or do what it is that people ask or suggest, because I certainly don't think I'm the only guy with ideas. I think 90% of the things, a lot of the things that we do, Jose has come to me and said, Dave, hey, you want to try this? I said, okay, let's give it a go. It's not, there's certainly, it's in that, because it works, then I continue to support it. If it didn't work, then I would think, well, let's not do that anymore. But so for other members out there, if you really have a passionate idea about OTJ, you send me a message, and I'll probably include Adam and Jose and Cassie in that conversation at some point, if it's something that I think will go somewhere. So don't hesitate to. It should be, something you think is substantially a good idea and something you want to work on, something you're passionate about. Like Adam and Jose did with summer sessions, they came with an idea that they were passionate about, and I said, let's do it. So I think that could be part of the secret to some of the sauce here. Jose, go ahead.
Okay. There were a bunch of points that are raised beyond the one that I wanted to talk about when I raised my hand. But I noticed something that was very important in the chat that took up only one sentence, and it was by Linda. And she said, OTJ has built a community. And if you look only at the surface of the meaning of that statement, you go, yeah, sure. Obviously, we're all here. Summer sessions is fun, and Friday Night Social is there. But if you look at the broader, maybe deeper meaning of the word community, it's the idea that people come to OTJ, not just, sorry, I don't know if I'm going to be refuting some of the things that you say, Dave, but I also want to play a bit of devil's advocate for some of the things that are being said, but I agree with most of what you do say. But community means that there is an emotional and social bond that goes beyond our professional bond. Our professional purpose is to come here and learn and do more to enrich our professional work. But at the same time, we've made friends. And that friendship, those bonds of friendship, probably cause us to want to deal with each other more than we do on a professional scale. And we want to talk about things that we talk about at Friday Night Social, where we can let that out. And the need to actually tell jokes, especially when you're alone at home, trust me, I know what it's like to be alone at home all the time, extends to this community that you feel closest to. I'm sure there are probably people in OTJ who are thinking, I feel closest to not the people in my teacher's lounge. I feel closest not to the people in my neighborhood, but I feel closest to the people in OTJ. And I don't want to say we're not recognizing that, but I think to understand that will help us understand why people sometimes say, oh man, you got to open up, you got to relax a little, unclench and let us put some of these memes. Now, we've come up with a solution for the memes that, yes, I agree with you, Dave, they were kind of littering, polluting the main page. But if other things come as a suggestion from other people in the group about what we might want to do, remember that it means far, far more for some people than just a place to get information about online teaching. It is a community. It is, and for all of the deep meaning of that word.
Actually, that's the thing that I forgot what I was trying to say earlier, is that, yeah, people were dying to talk, oh my God, sorry. People really wanted to talk. I'm so sorry. People really wanted to talk to other teachers because a lot of us are isolated at home. Maybe they're getting emails from their schools. Some schools had more support than others. Like David and my university, one of them had, Zoom sessions to help teachers kind of practice presenting on Zoom or whatever. But a lot of people on OTJ mentioned that, some of their schools just really didn't have any support. So they didn't have support from their their higher ups, but maybe they also weren't able to connect to their coworkers. So people really were I think they were so excited, and that's why it grew so quickly. They're so excited to come together in the very beginning. But that's also why it was kind of a hodgepodge of people talking about everything, because people really wanted to communicate and be part of the community. And so, were you going to say something, Dave?
Well, if I could, based, with what you said and with what Jose just said, it kind of strikes me as that maybe as this community was sort of a unique community there were other teaching organizations out there that could have taken up the "Let's learn how to teach online" banner, but I was out of the gate quickly with it, and then because it grew and because it was helpful, maybe that, as you're saying, Jose, people begin to get an emotional attachment to it, and then that emotional attachment expands to other areas of life, which is what I think you're getting at. It's the community is roughly, as this is a safe place to come, as this is a fairly decent organization, then it means more to people over time and for more reasons than what maybe even I think, right? Which is what you're trying to get at.
If I can just, Dave, I don't know if that thought was going to continue.
No, that's
okay. Just because I realize he's still here. Simon, are you still here? Simon Morin, are you still here?
Oh, I thought he actually had to leave, but he's here.
Okay, good. Okay,
I came back because apparently I cannot read UTC time, and I tried to join my other thing an hour ahead.
I don't know if you're going to have to go, and I thought maybe you were just just in time to actually state. Simon made a preliminary statement because he thought he was going to leave early. I thought just in case he does leave early, and just to get the ball rolling, so that then our audience can feel comfortable in actually saying how they're feeling. I thought, Dave, if it's okay with you, let Simon in a little bit early. And Simon, if you could just recap what you were saying about long live and all of the long live statements that you brought in there.
It was, I heard David mention earlier on that I'd attended, I don't know if it was the first meeting or get together or whatever it was, and David has said a couple of times that I took over the meeting, which hadn't been my intention. And it's laughable, really, that I was capable of doing that at the time, because I think, at the time I was basically one page ahead of the class. I'd had a little bit of, I'd had some experience with Zoom, and we'd had a bit of training from some Japanese ITC teachers, and OTJ just kind of sprang up out of a need that everybody had, because nobody knew what they were going to do. Nobody was sure whether everybody was going online or not. And then, of course, a lot of people did. And it's continued since then. I haven't always been able to attend the social. I do when I can. I've been to lots of events. I joined in the sessions both last year and this year. And one of the things that I think is really, really attractive about OTJ are the things that I basically put into the chat there, that, that it's commercial free. And I think that's really, really good. I think, as everybody knows, I'm in the business end of English language learning. I run schools and publishing and whatnot, but it's actually a relief to have somewhere that's not bombarded with self-promotion or promotion or whatever, as a lot of the groups can be. And I find that really, really good. It makes it easier for me, and people can PM other people about products and services if they like, and that's allowed people to just to show up and share and help each other out. And I think that's been tremendous. I've learned a tremendous amount. I mean, there's a whole load of other stuff that haven't necessarily been relevant to my everyday working life. But, the expertise that I think is on OTJ is phenomenal, really. And I don't know if people would have shown up and done that if it was like JALT or ETJ or some other organization, because it was spontaneous. I mean, David started it. Cassie, Jose, and Adam obviously got involved pretty early on, but essentially because it was a spontaneous group-led group, I think that's been the key to its success. And as I said in the chat, the other thing as well, there was some discussion of this last year, when Adam and Jose put the first sessions together, the Moose, there are no rules, there's no constitution. It's just show up, share, lead, do your work, be nice to people, be supportive. And people have really done that, and it's been absolutely fantastic. We don't need a constitution. I say we, as if I'm a member of OTJ, which I am a member of the Facebook.
No, you are
group,
a member of OTJ.
Yeah, and that's how I feel, And as I also said, it's added significantly to my professional life, but also to my personal life. I've made good friends in OTJ. I mean, I presume Jose, Adam I'd met before, David I'd met before, Cassie I've never met in person, Jose I've never met you in person, and there are other people that I've met, Linda, Louise Heal Kawai, other Louise I've met before. I presume one day we will meet in person, and that'd be great. I mean, hopefully we'll not have masks on, and we can get over social distancing, But I've made what I consider to be firm friends in this OTJ group, and that's been a great thing for me, bit of a antisocial bod that I am, and so to everybody really, the people that started it, got the ball and ran with it, and those that have joined and contributed, thanks to everybody for all their efforts, and long may it continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
So to that end, would everyone like to contribute, as Simon did? I think that was really important to have him say that. But before we do, I want to note that I get yet another cute cat moment. I don't think you can really have a good Zoom meeting if you don't have a cute cat moment. Everyone, I want to introduce you to Kokali. Kokali is Linda's cat, very sweet little calico. As if you couldn't figure out where Kokali came from.
Yeah, she's
Clever.
a sweetheart.
Yeah, look at her.
She wants me to put both hands on her. I've never had a cat who wanted my hand on her belly like this and to be scratched here. Most cats hate it, but this is what she wants every day.
She's a dog. She's not a cat.
Yeah. Her brother was more dog-like also.
So speaking of, unique communities of teachers, I don't know if I can see something like this happening in your basic sort of professional development group planning meeting. Right. This is where we go around with each other because we're good friends and we know that it's okay to do this sort of thing. And I think what is unique about OTJ doesn't need, explicit protection, but it needs at least implicit recognition that we are different. And the things that maybe other groups had to be careful about, like keeping the content strict, those groups also had to be careful about people who showed up and just acted like assholes. We don't have to worry about that so much, number one, because it's a very well policed group. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Dave. But also, two, the people don't need to be policed that much. Not since we got, most of the assholes out.
I think that's a really, really good point, Jose. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the fact it almost seems like now the culture is so well established that it's just like flicking flies that it's very easy to just deal with the small issues that do come up because there is a culture there now. Early on, it took policing. I have a question for.
Oh, sorry. Can I add on to that before the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the very beginning, when I was kind of giving Dave some ideas for how we could start structuring the group, like in the beginning, I kept on bringing up this really, huge, well-established Facebook group, which you guys have probably heard of, which is called Tokyo Expat Network. Thank you, Eric. See ya. And so that's kind of a group that I looked at as a successful kind of group because there's a lot of really great stuff on there. And there are a lot of really supportive people too. But it's huge, right? It's enormous. There's so many people. any kind of topic, but they do have a lot of strict rules, and they have, set weekends every month where they are allowed to advertise. But the problem with Tokyo Expat Network, most of the time you can find like whatever answer you're thinking of. If you use the search button, everyone knows TJ should do that too, or ask. But there's a lot of like really, really snarky and nasty people on there too, as there are on many other parts of the internet. And so, yeah, I mean, sarcasm, we can, some people love it more than others, but there's just like some nasty people on the internet. And I'm really glad that we don't have those kinds of people. And usually when we did have those kinds of people, someone had a problem with it, which meant that they had to report it to me, or David, and we had to warn the person. But yeah, so recently there's not much of that, thankfully.
Cassie, sorry. He had to leave.
Oh yes, Adam is snarky, but it's fine.
Sorry, Dave. I wanted to give Eric or other people that feel that they actually want to contribute something, but they have to go because dinner is calling or something. If you could just raise your hand. No, it's not your fault. If you could just raise your hand, and I'll know that I have to give you some time to go. Another person that kind of chimed in with a little bit of a message was Sachiko. Sachiko, if you want to open up your mic and voice your ideas directly, that would be good, I think.
Hello. I don't know if I want to turn on my camera. I'm in my PJs already, sorry. And I'm hanging out my laundry in the back. So for me, the major reason I was able to join, the ease of which to join OTJ was the lack of paperwork. I feel like JALT, all the other teacher organizations, there's just way too much paperwork. You got to pay an annual fee. And then once you join, the few JALT events I have been to, they immediately want you to take on an officer role, has been my experience. And if you know anybody there, like if your colleagues also show up, or if your boss is also at the JALT event, there's immediate pressure to help out as an officer or whatever. So the lack of all these things made it easy for me to join OTJ. And the topics were always timely, obviously. State of emergency is issued. We talk about that. Like hybrid has become an issue. We talk about that. The timely topics also definitely helped.
Well,
yes, Linda.
Because this is an online group and we haven't had any face-to-face meetings, there's no need for insurance to protect us. There's no need to create a nonprofit organization. We don't have to deal with all of the problems that JALT faces having face-to-face meetings.
Linda,
yes.
let me ask you a question. Do you JALT was formed long before the internet, and OTJ happened to come along just when Zoom and all this stuff was sort of available.
Right, but JALT was also formed before the laws changed in this country that held officers of groups responsible for any problems that happened. So there were 3 conferences in a row where there was a fire on campus that had nothing to do with JALT, but it started looking very suspicious to the police. And once, was it Kyoto JALT, a child was kidnapped and had nothing to do with any English teachers, but it happened the weekend of JALT and the police were investigating all the English teachers. And these different things create enormous monetary responsibilities for officers, absolutely enormous.
Wow.
So if there were a fire that was caused by JALT people, the JALT president would be financially responsible for that.
In what ways?
That's the law in Japan. That's why JALT has to be a nonprofit organization. So that's when that law changed, JALT had no choice, either just no one would ever take on an officer responsibility or it had to be nonprofit to protect the officers from financial responsibility.
Linda, if I may ask you, because you seem to have a sort of an understanding here that because OTJ is what it is, do you see any areas where we may have responsibility for the things?
No, as long as it's online and nobody's, I just don't see how it could possibly be. You know, if we're having a face-to-face meeting and somebody trips and falls and breaks their neck,
Mhm.
we could be responsible. But if we have an online meeting and somebody trips and falls in their house, we're not responsible.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it just raised, you raised a point that I never ever considered, is like, are there any responsibilities that I have or Cassie has? Because technically on paper we're the we're both
right. I can't imagine how there would be any responsibility. I can't imagine. But when I first started with JALT, officers were not personally responsible. But around the time JALT became a nonprofit group, that's when the law changed that made the officers themselves financially responsible for any problems.
Bill Pello writes in the chat here also, because there's no venues for in-person meetings, so we can, number
Right.
one, we can call a meeting anytime.
Right.
we can OTJ TV anytime. We can do summer
Mhm.
sessions anytime without interfering with any physical. No need to
Exactly.
rent. No need to check people's. People don't need to pay to go to it. They don't need
Exactly.
transportation. They don't need. We don't
They
even
join at their own choice
Yeah,
and their own
that harkens,
responsibility.
like, to what Simon said, the fact that it's free, the fact that it's commercial free, and that everything else is free. How do other people feel about that?
You could put a disclaimer in the OTJ, blurb at the beginning that's pinned to the top of the page that, you're here at your own risk, or
enter at your own risk. I mean,
Oh, lawsuit.
well,
Bill, did you want to, your mic is open. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, more toward what Sachiko said. I mean, it is true that we do, JALT does tend to ask people to become volunteers. But I mean, a lot of it is that we traditionally, for JALT is nearly 50 years old, right? It's almost always been an in-person organization where we have speakers come to a venue and people come to a venue. And so all of this, the venue, booking the venue and all of that, I think really contributed to JALT's feeling that things had to be planned a very long time in advance, which was part of our, I'm not going to say paralysis, but some of the shock and the lack of agility shown by a lot of the chapters at the very beginning of this pandemic, which, because we're thinking, plan a meeting. Oh, well, what, you mean for June? No, I mean a meeting for tomorrow.
Yeah,
which was something that, as you said, because OTJ it's not an organization, it's not JALT, it's not English Teacher Japan. You could just show up and no one says, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Why haven't you been paying your dues? You come in, you have no baggage, right? There's no baggage. There's no one says, hey, we need someone to help us do something. It's just welcome. You're here.
Yeah.
And another part of it, I thought, was like very early on when, Jose, you were planning sort of people getting together to decide what they can contribute in as far as doing a presentation or whatever.
Oh, the first summer sessions?
Yeah, well, especially like in the first summer sessions.
Yeah, that was
right?
magic.
Just the variety of people who came. I mean, some of these people who showed up, like Mark Hegelson and other people,
Charlie
have been
Brown.
plenary speakers at conferences in Korea and across Asia. And others who came were very well published academics, and others were people who are really good at giving in-person workshop training sessions. And everyone came together as an equal, not as like professor or whatever, but just as, hey, we're all trying to figure this new thing out together. How can we help each other? And that too was, I think, possible because OTJ comes in with no structure from the beginning.
Right.
That was.
I think I've talked too much, but
No, it's okay. I'm sorry, Dave. I know that Rhett had his hand up before and he's still there. Rhett, did you want to speak a bit?
If you can hear me.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bud. Go. And by the way, thank you. That was a great presentation last night.
yeah.
You're welcome. I'm very interested in H5P, and I'm very interested in a community that will support sort of a sort of like strand towards H5P, and how specific content can be continued to be built out to support, you know, from anywhere from kindergarten levels all the way to say a university. And but you know, often, like, I live in Korea, I'm not part of JOLT, I never will be. I can't say I'll ever be in Japan because I've got family and friends here. But at the start of the pandemic, you know, Korea also had an international conference, and I kind of like, well, you know, first I had to pay $100 to present, and then I had to put in all the work that I would have, you know, to do the presentation. Anyways, there's like, sometimes it's like, you know, as a teacher, and I'm a private teacher, I've got my own little business here in South Korea, where, you know, yeah, it is Kotessel, and I like Kotessel, but at the same time is, you know, I feel like as teachers we need to become more financially aware of our knowledge and of our skill set, and how we can support people with that knowledge, as well as be supported by that knowledge or that community, that group. So I'm like, I'm all for free, but at the same time, I don't really want to be a part of a group that I have to pay for, yet still give my time and energy to present for, unless there's some sort of like common agenda where I feel like I can push forward what I need to push forward to, and create some sort of learning environment around that. Say for me in H5P, and for somebody else, it could be somebody else. I don't know if I'm rambling too much, but
No, you're doing fine, dude. But I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you this much. As long as I'm here, none of this will be for pay. If it starts to do that way, and I don't think that'll happen while Dave is here either, I'm not going to be here anymore. So don't worry about that. I don't think that's going to be any kind of a problem. This will always be the way it is. The success that it was built upon was that people share with each other out of the goodness of their hearts. So I don't think that's any kind of a worry, Rhett.
If I could add to that, a question to that is, how far do you think a free organization can go? Is this the new model of the 21st century? Because I intended it to be free when I set it up. I didn't want anybody to, I never, occasionally you think, wow, I got a big Facebook group. Is there a way to make money? But I don't, like Jose said, I don't like that becomes a complication I don't want in my life. Simply put, like it would just be too complicated, whether it, for not for altruistic reasons, just for messy, complicated. It's so uncomplicated right now when there's no money involved. Is it possible for a group to continue to grow and to spread out that free model? Hang on, Bill. Just before, because this is going to get a really interesting set of responses, please use the raise hand button and then I'll know exactly where. But I got you, Bill. You don't have to raise your hand. Rhett, go.
I was just like, I like how things are free, but I also like how, people can contribute in a way that builds the skill sets for them to actually create sort of a pay for product. So, here teachers are looking at retirement and saying, okay, you use this community as a forum to hone those skills, to create that course that you can move forward into, say, another community like Teachable or something like Udemy or something like that. And then, you know, then you use the community to bring people into that. And that's kind of like, and so at one hand, I like the freeness, but I think there should be some sort of like promote your own sort of, you know, like learn how to become better by honing those skills and then link to something, I guess. So yeah, I'm finished there.
Okay, Bill, did you still want to chime in again?
Sure. I think, you know, remaining a free organization depends entirely on, of course, expenses and how those expenses are covered. Groups such as ETJ, English Teachers Japan, I mean, they're free, but, you know, they're free because they used to have the expos that were like giant book fairs that people could go to, and basically buy textbooks or get textbooks, right? That kind of thing. I think, you know, these days, Facebook, of course, is giant and Facebook's free. So using Facebook as the main platform excludes all of the anti-Facebook people, but it does allow for a lot more to be done for no cost, which is fantastic, right? There's no newsletter, no publication being mailed to people. You don't have to have any sort of meetings of people traveling the country to talk to each other. So as long as, you know, this remains rolling in this way, I don't see why it would ever have to become a paid service. As long as people keep buying those t-shirts.
And unfortunately, they've stopped buying those t-shirts. Dave, did you want to speak before Simon does?
No, Simon, please go ahead.
Simon.
Thanks. Following on from that, from Brett and other things that I mentioned in my initial chat message, that I think there could be a commercial offshoot. You know, I think everybody, well, people who attended my session last year, you know, I've talked about destroying education. This is OTJ, Online Teaching Japan. There are the human resources and expert knowledge in this group to be able to create a platform for people to take skills into a commercial arena. It wouldn't necessarily have to be an OTJ brand name platform or whatever, but you know, the idea of open source distributed interoperable networks are the ones that win. And I think it would be, OTJ as it exists is a great training ground and a suggestion ground for people who can take those skills and get paid for them. You know, just say, for example, David and I had a brief chat about this privately a while ago, but say, for example, that somebody wanted to have a, you know, let's do a vocabulary learning course. Do we know anybody who knows about vocabulary? Oh, Charlie Brown has just popped into the room. You know, you can do it spontaneously and quickly like that, you know. Yeah. I think as long as the main Facebook page or Facebook group is commercial free, there could be other commercial offshoots and people can help each other out. It struck me yesterday speaking to, who was it? Was it Bill up in Sapporo, saying that, you know, he hasn't planned his pension. He's going to be losing his full-time job.
Glenn.
You know, sorry?
Was that Glenn?
Glenn, sorry, yes, it was Glenn, yes. You know, it strikes me that some of us are older than others in OTJ. You know, I'm 54, I don't know how old Glenn is, maybe 60 odd, I don't know, coming towards retirement. Looking for looking for Brett's got his mic on. Yeah, looking for looking for employment or other forms of revenue. And you know, Todd Buchan's developing his listening materials. You know, there's lots of ways that people can pool their expertise together. Say, for example, that Glenn offered his if people got to know Glenn and his profile through OTJ, but he offered his writing or proofreading services to somebody on a platform outside of OTJ, well, that would have been a commercial enterprise or exercise that had come together because of people knowing each other on OTJ, but not advertise or recruit on OTJ, for example. I would also like to start, a distributed learning network that paid everybody that contributed to it, that helped destroy institutional education. And I think OTJ could be a platform to start out from. Yeah.
Well, in that it would be separate from.
Yeah.
Then it's doable, right? When it's inside of.
Yeah,
and it's
OTJ is the meeting place, the forum, the exchange of ideas and help and share and all that, and the launch pad for other things. I mean, Mike Haddis was on there the other day. I haven't watched his presentation yet, but Adam had mentioned it in the TV session that, there's somebody talking about showing people how they can take skills they've learned in the lockdown period and make a product out of them that they can then sell. Lots of teachers are employed, and their financial gain from their employment ends obviously when they leave that institution. But if together we can help each other show how they can use those skills to make income as independents or consultants, or set up their own online courses or face-to-face online or learning sessions, I think that would be a great thing of benefit to many people in the community.
The one thing though, Simon, George, nice to see you. I'll get to you in just a second. The one thing that we want to be careful about though, Simon, is that on the main board, I think you got to clear this with Dave. Dave has the last word in all of these things. There were a couple of moments during the summer sessions when Adam and I were watching over the sessions and seeing people that were kind of dancing on the line about recruiting people.
Yeah.
And, probably best to discuss it with us, but if you're recruiting people for a commercial venture, that's something you want to be careful about on the main OTJ page.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's tricky. It would be tricky if someone were to do something. It would be tricky, but I think it can be done.
It can be done, but probably best to discuss that with Dave.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, basically, I can't imagine anything would happen unless first, somebody spoke to Dave, who I'm pretty damn sure would then speak to you, Cassie, and Adam straight away after that.
Right. Okay. If I may, George, did you want to chime in?
Yeah. I just wanted to. I just wanted to talk about maybe the previous question, or I don't know, because I was trying to connect, so maybe I lost the question. That was something that even Bill was talking about having free associations, or what is the future of associations. This is my dissertation topic, so it's associations and how did they react to the pandemic. As I we spoke earlier before I took a nap at 5:30 in the morning. It was.
Thank you very much for taking your time to do that, by the way. Thank you very much.
No problem. TESOL Golf was created because of the pandemic, so it's a byproduct of the pandemic. It was a need that was for the countries around here. We used to have TESOL Arabia. TESOL Arabia did not exist anymore. And it had all of those, bureaucratic issues that Linda, I think, talked about, and the responsibility of the officers and the president and this and that and the other. And I think that the future, or what is happening now, it's like I compared with the Industrial Revolution. It's the knowledge and the explosion of knowledge from all parts of the world. Because before, if you wanted to go to a conference, and I'll take TESOL International as an example, it would cost a fortune. And that was not affordable to anyone. Well, last year and this year, I know it's the Secretary of State and the ministries and all sorts of things. They've funded more than 10,000 people to attend the virtual TESOL convention, for instance. That could never have happened before. And all of these, speakers, people from around the world that they could never be heard, they are being heard. Like teachers from parts of the world that just have a phone and just have a WhatsApp connection, and they can come and they can present and they can talk and you can hear them. That was not possible before. And I think, yes, online professional development is here to stay, and it will progress. Something that I wanted to say about this group, which I really, really like, and I've said that quite many times today, is that it came from the need of the people, the need of the teachers. The content is, it comes from teachers. It's moderated by teachers. at the beginning, and I know that there are guidelines and everything, but at the beginning, you need those hawks. You need those people that will take care of the group, and they're going to be there safeguarding the content, safeguarding the members, safeguarding everybody. This is what I think the most important element to sustain a group in the future. Like to have those individuals, those people, the people that started it, the people that continue, to have that in there. Because we may not have a child kidnapped in one of our sessions or on our Facebook, but the point is, cyberbullying, or people that enter with, like nasty people that are, don't have anything else to do in their life, that come and ruin a group or ruin a page. There are dangers online, actually more than face to face. So I strongly believe that safeguarding the group and making certain that you have people, Jose just talked about, watching over the sessions and people going, in
Close to the line.
watching the sessions about being commercial and this and that. You need to have this to preserve quality, to safeguard, what is happening in the group. This is what I think is one of the most important. It's not the only element, but it's one of the most important elements. And sorry about the hawk. I didn't mean that in a,
No.
it was figurative.
Yeah, I know.
But,
It was cool. I liked it.
Okay, Dave.
You can have a emoji of hawk.
George, is it George or Georgios? How do you?
George is fine. Yeah.
George. To add to what you're saying, that safeguard is a very nice word that you use. I really appreciate to hear that word, because it's exactly, I think, the mentality that I have is I say the word protect, but safeguard. And we've had a handful, maybe more than a handful of people, but there was, especially last spring, there was one individual that joined the group that a lot of members in the group knew, like, whoa, he's in here, this person's in here now. And I didn't have any good reason to kick the person out, because they were edging the rules. They weren't breaking them, but I felt very uncomfortable. I lost a lot of sleep, but thankfully, through my efforts and some efforts of other members that aren't even in this group, like the regular members, made it so that, no, you're not going to take over this group. No, you're not going to. And the person eventually left on their own will. And it was a month of, sleepless nights, and but just for the purpose of safeguarding. But I didn't want to overstretch my authority and just kick the person out, because they didn't actually break the rule. They just made people uncomfortable with their presence and some of the things they were saying. So it's a tough, very tough thing to do. But the very first meeting that Jose put together for the summer sessions 2020, Steve McCarty, is that his McCarthy?
Steve McCarty, yep.
He spoke to me and he said, David, take care of this group, whatever you do, you have to take care of it, right? It was like, really stuck with me, but thanks for pointing that out, George. Appreciate that.
It also shows the dynamics of the group, so that the group itself, like they will somehow ostracize a person or a member that is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And even if they're not breaking the rules, they're close to that. I think the group dynamics will do that.
Yeah, the group spirit. Yeah, it's the spirit of the law rather than the law in some cases, right? Keeping the spirit of the group alive. Thank you. Appreciate your comment.
Yeah. Anybody else? I don't know, Dave, if you want to agree with that. I don't think it's going to be very scientific either, but of the people that are here, could you get ready to hit your thumbs up button? I'm going to ask a question. Thumbs up if you think generally the direction that Dave and the group itself is taking is a satisfactory one, and you're perfectly okay with it not changing any more than it already has. Thumbs up. Okay, so we've got
but it's not natural for things to not change. Things that don't change die.
Yes. I understand. So for the people that didn't or had a problem hitting thumbs up, I invite you to open up your camera, your microphone at least, and maybe your camera, to tell us where you think it might want to go, or where you think it you want it to go, and in what different angle you want it to go, or what variation you want it to go in. Okay, Rhett, you go.
Yeah, so it's not that I really want the group to change, but at the same time, change is inevitable. Things always change.
Yes.
COVID hit. I started teaching with just a photocopier. Then a computer came, and then I had to get on YouTube, and I had to understand how these systems and within systems work. So I like the group as a starting point, but I do want, and I would like to be a part of other people who are changing their game. So if there's a way for me to know what's going on with people that are moving in the same way that I'm going, then I would love to jump on that side car so that I could go running with those people or get into the game that they're playing as well. So,
What do you envision, Rhett? Like if you said, okay, you know what, I'm just going to take the first step. What do you think? Let's say you think, okay, I'll go take chance and talk to Dave about it, and I'm going to give him my ideal idea, your number one idea, and then lo and behold, Dave says, yeah, that's a great idea. What is that idea?
for me, I would say, okay, for the next year, we're going to put 5 guys in a room and say, how can we take H5P to this whole different level of content creation within the English teaching environment in Asia? That's the room I'd like to be a part of.
Okay, so let me tell you how things usually work in terms of Dave listening to me, and he goes, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I get an idea, I go to Dave and I say, hey, Dave, would you be okay with me putting this up as a post on the main board? And I'm going to tell people I'm going to be at this room, okay? And if you guys want to join me, please come and join me. Because that's exactly how Saturday Night Sessions started. Said, I'm going to talk about Zoom. And if you want to join me, go ahead and join me. Otherwise, I'm going to be talking about it for free, and I'm not going to try to get your emails. I don't need your emails. I just want you to hit that link. Dave might, if you tell him the details and maybe some of the things that he hears doesn't like that. But generally, Dave is very, very open to listening to ideas like that. If you want people to join you in a room, okay, tell them where the room is, and then tell Dave that you're going to do that. And then probably at least 5 people will probably come. There's 27, nearly 2,800 members in the group. And I think you'll find those 5 people that you want to talk to.
So I guess I would like if sometimes there was if it was like a formal notification that there are interest groups that could be started and created. So it's not like introducing, I might be crazy, but it would be kind of cool if type idea. So that there was some sort of we like when this sort of stuff happens. If small little groups that create this sort of content, these sort of strands of ideas, we're interested. If you guys are interested in putting together into holding that kind of dialogue.
Cassie?
Rhett, were you in the Zoom already when we were mentioning how OTJ, Moodle, and Off Topic started? Or were you kind of joining around the time?
I've been managing my kids and and so I caught things and I didn't catch things, so
right.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, no problem. So earlier we were talking a little bit how there seemed to be a lot of people interested in Moodle, and there were a lot of Moodle posts floating around the timeline. And so eventually we made, which Adam is the head of, an OTJ Moodle subgroup. So I think it's totally possible that there might be other future interest groups that could be a part of OTJ, if not just regular Zoom meetings or anything like that. So I think there's possibilities for doing what you're looking for, which I'm not familiar with, H5P. So yeah, there's probably you'll find other people who can come together and make a subgroup or just Zoom or something.
I'd also like to put out my formula for those of you who are interested in how did Jose get the reputation that he eventually got? How did he start? I came into the group because Bill Pello, my friend Bill Pello, told me, hey, Jose, this is a really interesting group. Here's the link. Check it out. Join it. I joined it. And what I found was that everyone was talking a lot about Zoom, but Bill invited me to join OTJ because I was already starting to make instructional videos about Zoom. And the ones that I put up initially at Fukuoka Jolt, I saw could be well received within OTJ, posted them up there, and they were getting all kinds of reception. So if you want to get on everyone's good side, take that presentation that you did last night, put it into 5-minute, maybe 3-minute snippets. This is how you do H5P part 1, part 2, part 3. Pretty cool, right? And then people will start saying, hey, how did you do that? Hey, what button was that again? And you're going to get an organic response from people saying, I want to learn more. You get that reputation with H5P, people are going to start following you around. They're kind of following me around right now. And if you do that, then, your next project, whatever it might be, in my case, it was the FNS, people started following me around for FNS. Then people started following me around for summer sessions. And it was because of the fact that I made the effort to show that I was willing to show that I'm going to make that effort. If you guys see me that way, I'm going to make that effort to be an instructional leader. And if you do that with what you know about H5P, if you do that with what you know in terms of developing an idea and getting out there and doing it to help people, I think people are used to that on OTJ, and they will cotton to that.
If I may add, Jose, and exactly what he said, and actually, I'd like to see more people do that. Like the OTJ live thing, live stream or Zoom, and then posting the video up of a meeting that 5 people had discussing Padlet, for example, or something, could easily go up. If it has a focus of teacher development in relation to online learning, and it's pretty easy to stretch anything into online learning these days if you're smart. If you're clever enough, you can make any post related to online learning. Then it belongs on OTJ. And if and as Jose said, you'll know, it's like a test run. You start noticing, you get feedback from it. It's like, man, people are digging what I'm doing here. I want to, and there's 5 or 6 like-minded people that seem to be really digging it. Then you got yourself an offshoot, or you got yourself an OTJ TV slot, where you can come out and do more of that kind of stuff. Because Jose and I've also talked about having other people do things on OTJ TV, not just the 2 of us. So there is room for stuff like that, and not just you, Brett, but other people. Please, OTJ in general.
Yeah,
challenge accepted.
I'll give you one hint. I think was it you that mentioned Udemy?
Yes, I did.
And have you done work with Udemy? Have you done stuff, sent stuff up to Udemy, Coursera maybe?
No, because the reason why is because as a private school owner, I focus on my own students, and everything is done in-house on my own website. Therefore, I've never really seen stretch too far.
Sure. But I'll give you a hint. Like, if you want to encourage people to show them, hey, this is kind of the first step of loading your stuff up on Udemy or Coursera, people will realize, hey, it's not that hard to actually, even if I don't have a Moodle, even if I don't have this kind of resource available to me, that I can use Udemy. And you'd be surprised who actually takes inspiration, for what reason, for whatever it is that you're throwing up there. And what's important is they see that you know a little bit about it, and you could be a mentor. And then people will start asking, and it will also help you. I mean, one of the other reasons that I wanted to actually lead on Zoom is because I knew that I was going to have my butt in the fire if I didn't know how to use this stuff. And by taking the lead on learning how to know Zoom, I learned Zoom, and I was ready for it. At least that part of my online teaching wasn't a problem when I started teaching in June. And if you always wanted to learn Udemy, right?
Yeah, that's the secret. I mean, I referred to this afternoon with the international forum. It's like OTJ is the group of it's the amount of willingness that you have to do something related to the subject matter, right? If you're willing, that's always been the, Cassie approached me and she was willing. I met Jose and he's willing. Adam is willing, and it's like, there's no way one individual can do anything, everything, right? So it takes a collection of willing people with new ideas. If I may, one of the biggest questions that always comes to my mind, Jose, and we've had this discussion before. Now, once again, it seems the pandemic is making online learning an essential service for the fall, at least in Tokyo, maybe more than ever. But there's always been this idea of what about when the pandemic's done and
Yes.
schools go back to face, and really online learning will, of course, the tools and the things that we've learned to use will be useful, but will OTJ be useful, I guess, is the kind of question that it's always digging at us, that someday in the future, hopefully not too far in the future, we want this pandemic done with, right? How will OTJ be not only relevant but thriving, is the word Jose I think uses sometimes. I think that's a question that's hard to answer, but it's the question of the day, really. It's the question of the future. I don't usually worry about the future too much because it kind of takes care of itself. And things, like Linda said, things evolve. Things do change just by the surrounding information that's coming in. You're going to adapt and change. But there may be a day when it becomes less urgent, I guess, or less important.
Dave,
And
I'm gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna quote you to yourself. And at your session on retirement, one of the most profound things that you said was that you are the custodian of your future self.
Mm.
That means that to you, at least in terms of money, you have to be proactive and planning to the degree that you can about a very uncertain future.
Mm.
And when you say now, and I'm not trying to be argumentative, when you say now, no, the future kind of takes care of itself, would you accept that attitude in terms of your money?
No.
Right. Okay. So when I bring up topics like this, and it's this very healthy sort of discussion, I'm trying to think about it. I wish I thought more like you about my money, and I think that way about my educational projects or the stuff that I do with OTJ. I think about the future, and I think just exactly as you said, where will we be when this pandemic eventually ends? And of course I want it to end. I want to go back to my classroom, but imagine we all do go back to our classrooms, and if OTJ becomes a memory of this community, I keep my friends, I keep Linda, and of course I'm going to keep Adam and you, and some of the people that I meet. Someday I'm going to go to Greece and meet George, or maybe to Riyadh and meet George. Yeah, but this is an important part of my life, and if this important part of my life disappeared, it would be a huge regret because we didn't actually manage it so that we knew at least the angle of the direction to steer it in when we know this pandemic will end. If it's going to take 2 years, it's going to take 3 years. Now, where will we be? I think I told you the story before. One of the members of OTJ, a very good member of OTJ, said that last year, around November, around the time of the JALT National Conference, said that, my school went full face-to-face right back. We had teachers using face shields and everybody was using masks, but everybody was in the classroom. And because I felt that I didn't need online learning anymore, online teaching techniques anymore, I just stopped going to OTJ. And if we have a significant portion of the group start to fall off because of that, I talk about this in terms of how I get students to turn on their cameras in our Zoom rooms, about critical mass. And there was a huge critical mass that occurred with OTJ in terms of like the incredible camaraderie and the incredible community that was built in terms of people contributing knowledge. But if another form of critical mass occurs where people start speaking less, unless there are special moments, but there's another form of critical mass of people dropping off not because they don't like the group, but because commuting to work is more time consuming. Their kids the kids' schedules change, and their online world might have afforded them more time, but they have less time because the face-to-face situation has changed that for them. People start not contributing to OTJ because we weren't prepared for it. I think it would be a big regret for me, maybe less of a regret for other people, but I think we can avoid that if we think about the fact that we are the custodians of our future OTJ. And at least thinking about where the future might be, I think would be good for us.
It's a good draw on yesterday's financial thing. It's an interesting way to think about it, to be the custodian. From a short-term perspective, I consider my role in the OTJ proper forum as a custodian. As far as 5 years down the road, I probably I don't look at the future more than 2 or 3 years, more than a year. But it's a good question. It's a good point to bring out, and it's a good ongoing conversation that we can have on OTJ and we can have in private as well, I think. But it is getting to be close.
Cassie.
Yeah, as much as I want the pandemic to end like now, I wonder, because now so many teachers all over the globe have become able to use all these technologies and deliver online classes, I wonder, even when it's safe enough for everyone to have face-to-face classes, how many courses and schools will continue to have a lot of online class offerings, because I feel like that would be very convenient for many people. I was talking to my friend who is living in Seattle right now, and I've known her from college, but she's a few years older than me, and she's going back to grad school for the first time in a while. And apparently that whole program, they just put it online, even though they used to require everyone to come move out to California. And I know it's still like we're still in the pandemic, but yeah, I wonder if online teaching I doubt online teaching will just disappear, especially since it's, actually been around since way before the pandemic too. And my master's was online, it was asynchronous. Yeah, so I was able to take my master's online from the new school in New York while teaching in Japan. And so, yeah, I feel like online teaching will stay. And I don't think we have to worry about it disappearing. And even if fewer people are teaching online in like 2 years, we have that community and we've made our friends, as you said, in the group. So I'm not worried.
I started a little project that I haven't been able to keep up with a few weeks ago, which is I was private messaging some people that I know and respect and asking them the exact question that you're asking, Jose. And I'll send it to you. I don't want to put it in the group chat right now. I'll send it to a private chat, because it's just a few people that and we know that, and it's a work in progress of getting people's ideas. And by and large, people say, I don't think OTJ is going to go anywhere. It's not going to cease being relevant. And maybe because of what Cassie's suggesting, which is, and as it was pointed out to me when I first started this group from a friend in Canada, David, online learning is not new. Mm-hmm. You're new to it.
Right.
You just you're getting up to speed with what's going on all around the world, and you're offering that to Japan. The question I asked, this is a question I asked my boss, Marcos. We had a 2-hour Zoom 2 weeks ago, the same question. And I asked him, like, what do you think the future of online learning is for our department?
Hi, George.
For Oberlin University. How's the university going to respond once the pandemic's over? And we already have it. We've had an LMS for 10 years, Moodle, so that'll never go away, because now all departments have been using that. As far as teaching is concerned, one thing that the repeater class may very well be done via online post-pandemic from next year. So they will start incorporating online learning, but not in a flurry, I guess is the word, but it will become part of Oberlin universities, especially with international students and other kinds of students. So it will be here to stay, at least in my institution. Across Japan, that's a big question, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when I mean, I don't want to say all due respect. I mean, it's like I'm trying to be condescending or anything. Cassie's got a good point. And Dave, you're right. Online learning is something that we stumbled into. And it doesn't mean that we discovered it. However, online learning is huge and important to the people that wanted to do online learning. Todd is instructional design guy. Cassie studied online learning. We got to go soon. I know. Okay, I'll wrap this up. What I wanted to say is that the perspective that you have about online learning is also affected by the perspective that you had before you came into it. And if it was something that you studied, it was something that you wanted to become good at, you're going to think, oh, no way, man, this thing that I like, it's never going anywhere. I can see hundreds of thousands of people all around the world that are good at, and there are all kinds of groups. What I'm talking about is this group. This group was made up of people who were just like us, who did not, well, Cassie being different, but like me and you, Dave, who I was just like you, Dave. I didn't want to have anything to do with Moodle. I wasn't even a pen and paper guy. I didn't even want that in my classroom. I wanted to do speaking exercises. And now I've changed, but I think most people who came into online learning through the pandemic are people who are hungry to shake it off. And if that's the majority of our community, like the guy that I was telling you, say, oh, we're going face to face, don't need OTJ anymore. Thanks a lot, but I'm so happy to be back in my classroom. I think that is a significant number in OTJ. And if we don't find a way to make sure that we don't need to cater to them, you don't need to change online teaching just for them, but we keep them in our sights and say that, we don't want to lose you outside of the community. And we can widen the breadth just enough so that everyone can see that we have a lot to offer people who might not have been online learning fans from the very beginning, but can see the value of a Moodle even in their face-to-face classrooms, can see the value of a Padlet in terms of homework or whatever else. That's what I'm saying, I think.
I think, you mentioned 2 points, Jose, that I really like. And one is that the custodian concept, because not only, it was something that was taught to me a long time ago, and I use it in one area of my life, but why not in this area as well? But also, the widening, I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen naturally. There was a point in time, and I do have to go, but there was a point in time last January where I felt like, you know what? Because I almost thought it was over anyway.
Yeah. You're telling me about
that like, these conversations are starting to get a little bit off, but that's okay. I was kind of letting them roll through a little bit, like to see where it might naturally evolve. But, and that might be something to, like, where would the group go if we took the braces off of, no, it has to be 100% online learning. What if that was relaxed a bit, where might it naturally evolve to, with the same spirit of respect for each other, the same spirit of, I want to be a good educator, with the same spirit of, I want to continue learning, it's that easing off a little bit on the vice of online learning only, where would it naturally go? And if it did go there, would that be something that would sustain the group? Because if it's, Wayne said to me, Dave, keep it organic. And that's kind of an organic concept, right? We're not really forcing anything onto the group, but it's, where would the group go if these circumstances were slightly altered or slightly changed? And it's a great topic of conversation. I think we'll keep it going.
And I think we need to keep it going. And I know that you need to get going. So just so that your wife doesn't get angry or any anger with you than she might already be, as she knocked on the door and demanded you get out of the little room that you're in. I would like to propose that at least for the people that can, if you could open up your cameras so we can see you, if you can open up your microphones. And I want to say at least this. My life has changed because of this group, and I don't mean that as hyperbole. It's absolutely literal. My life has changed because of this group, and at least for me, I want to take at least this moment to say thank you to David and Cassie and Adam for being there and us being part of the team. And I want us to show our round of applause, at least a few of us that are here for OTJ. Everybody.
Also,
okay.
Let's have a huge round of applause for Jose and Adam for being the spearheaders of the summer sessions, because a whole week of amazing sessions being totally free, and I can go just wearing my pajama bottoms, which I might have done at least once, but most of the time I was wearing regular clothes. Thank you so much for all the effort, for gathering all the applications for the sessions and putting together the awesome website and putting the John Travolta GIF under the Zoom button. I really enjoyed that and gathering the video abstracts and everything. And of course, thank you to David for everything. But
Everybody.
yeah, for the summer sessions, that was awesome. And thank you to all the presenters and everyone who came. That was so cool.
When do we applaud? When do we applaud?
I just started applauding while talking, but yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
guys.
Okay. There you go. Thank you very much. By the way,
Thank you,
Cassie,
everyone.
how you handled the question about pajama bottoms is, remember, politicians say this: "I will neither confirm nor deny that, Senator." About your pajama
All right.
bottoms having
Yeah,
been
no
on.
one asked me, but I just outed myself. So
Yeah, you
if they
did,
ask me
actually.
next
I will.
time,
Too late. Yeah. Okay.
I will not
It was-
neither confirm nor
yes.
deny that
Deny
I've
that.
been in my pajamas all day.
all right, Linda, thank you.
Actually, we can see your pajama top, but that's okay. Thank you very much.
It's just a t-shirt. It's Hillary Clinton.
Okay, I want to say just a couple of things. From 7:30, we have the final episode of SS21 TV. Very interesting episode that will be, I believe, with Carmen, who I think is still here. I'm not sure, but her audio is not on. But she's going to be there with Gretchen and Alex. And then, if you want to have a really fun time, I know I'm going to probably be a little loopy, a little tired, and I'm going to be drinking a lot tonight. So please come join us at Friday Night Social at its normal URL. At its normal URL. Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to say a final word? Dave's got to go. Otherwise, we're going to go. Okay. We're going to go. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Let's
you.
go to-
Bye. Bye.